Well, Lee, we've got one game left to go this season. It's Swindon Town at home this weekend. Promises to be a very big crowd here. But what have your overall thoughts been on the season this year?
I think missed opportunity. I think Tom really, I think with the squad we assembled and everything else that we did in the close season, I would have expected us to have been much closer to the playoffs this year than we will be, even if we beat Swindon. So I think it's been a missed opportunity. It's not. I mean, we haven't. We're going to finish 16 to 19 points above any problems, which is great. But overall, I just feel a bit we missed an opportunity. That block of 7 games in the middle of the season where we lost them, that did for us in terms of the season. Apart from that 7-game block, we'd have been there or thereabouts. So I feel a bit disappointed that we didn't sustain a challenge for the players, because I think we should have. But we'll live to fight another fight, because we're not in any problems as far as the club is concerned. So overall, a bit disappointed. Been ups and downs. I mean, I think there's been some great games. The Port Vale games were fully charged, as we all know. The Forest Green Rovers game sticks in my memory, the away game. There's been some really good games. The great game against Newport County here, they stick in my mind. But there's been some downs as well. So an up and down sort of season overall. I think we underachieved.
Yeah, the support has been fantastic, and we've just finished our early bird window, and there seems to have been a really good uptake. Have you got an update for us on that?
Yeah, I think the support has been really good. I mean, it has been really good this year, home and away. I think away in particular, I have to say, I think the away support has been tremendous this year. The season tickets, I was really concerned, because we all know what's going on in the world. The cost of living crisis, as it's termed, with what's happening in other parts of Europe. And I just felt it was a really difficult time to launch season tickets for any club, including ours. Remarkably, we've exceeded the number of tickets we sold last year and pre-pandemic year, which I find remarkable. And so, huge thanks to everyone that has renewed, and some people that have joined the season tickets and not never been before. So I think I am grateful for that, and I think, and if I'm honest with you, I'm a bit surprised by that. I thought we'd have a struggle for reasons that I can fully understand and appreciate. But the truth is, we've exceeded the number that we achieved last year, which was the surge coming out of COVID, and yet we've done better this year. Not by a huge amount, but it's more, and I'm very pleased with that. So big thanks to the Walsall supporter base for that. Fantastic.
And I think on a couple of occasions this season, you've mentioned in your programme notes things like pitch encroachments and online abuse and things like that. There was an alleged stone thrown incident away at Colchester. Anything you'd like to say on that?
Well, I think I have to put these in context. The vast majority of Walsall fans are great, and I meet lots of them. In fact, I was at Huddersfield Walsall reserve game this week, and there's some Walsall fans there, and it's great to meet them, and it's great, and I really enjoy those sort of conversations. But we have to acknowledge, as with most clubs, that there is a small number of people that frankly I wish did not support us. And it's very rare for me to say that, but I think these people need to be called out. And I do it for the good of the club, but I do it for the good of the 5,000 Walsall fans that are just great guys and great people and don't want to associate with these people either. Yeah, and I have to say again that fan encroachment on the pitch is a criminal offence. You're likely to get a 3-year ban. In fact, those that encroached at the Port Vale game, when identified, and some already have, will be banned. That's a police thing to do with Walsall Football Club. you know, I'd like it to stop. I'm not sure anything I say will make it stop, but I'd like it to stop. And as far as the stone throwing is concerned at Colchester United, you know, that will be dealt with by the police first and foremost, and then it will be dealt with by the club. And when the perpetrator is identified, and he will be, because we've got CCTV of it, he'll face a ban. And that won't be the club, it'll be the police, and then the club will follow up if we think it's appropriate. I've mentioned before about online abuse, and I think I've seen the worst example of online abuse I've ever seen in my entire life after the Port Vale game. It was just depraved, frankly. And that has been dealt with by the police, and it will be dealt with by the club. Put in context though, Tom, we're talking about 3 or 4 people in all my time as chairman, which is 3 years now. So we're talking about a very, very small number of people that let this club down. And, the police deal with these things and we deal with these things, but, and they are annoying, but they're a small number of people that do this sort of stuff. I just wish they'd behave and behave properly. All clubs have them, and we have our fair share, but it's right that we call it out for what it is, and it's unacceptable behaviour by Walsall supporters, and I just wish they'd stop. So, for respect, for one, for the club, and 2, for the rest of the supporters that behave perfectly well. There's one other point on this as well. Every time we have an encroachment, or we have an incident like we had at Colchester United with the stone throw, our police costs go up. We're not talking about 200 or 300 quid. We're talking thousands upon thousands of pounds we spend policing games, and every time an incident like that happens, our policing costs go up. That's money we can't put in the player budget. So the implications are, if you misbehave, our policing costs go up. There's less for Michael to spend on the team.
Yeah, Michael seems to be somebody who's really galvanised the fan base. I think that goes to show in regards to the numbers that have come in, the season tickets that have been purchased, and he's often spoken to myself and to external media about his plans for the summer and how he thinks it's going to be a busy summer. But how are you envisaging the summer moving into next year?
Well, it will be a busy summer. I think when you've got mid-table position and you've underachieved what I think you should have achieved, there should be change, and there will be change. And he's got his own way of doing things, and we'll try and make sure we back Michael as much as we can. I speak with him daily, and he's pretty aggressive and ambitious about what he wants to do with the club and what changes he wants to make on the playing side of things. But quite a few of our players are on contract next year, so we haven't got 15 out, 15 in, 16 out, none of that stuff. But there'll be some change, and there needs to be. And I am quite sure he will be the architect of a quite different sort of Saddlers next year, but building on some players that we brought in this year who've been very good. There's been some very good performances this year. So, yeah, there will be a change. He does galvanise the fan base. He's very focused, he's aggressive, and I've known him for a couple of months now, and he's certainly that. But it's great, and I'm sure that the season tickets that have, as I said, exceeded expectation are down to him. Well, certainly he's played his part in that.
Yeah, we mentioned there's been changes from the football side of things. There's also been big changes in the commercial aspects of the club as well. We welcomed Poundland in last week as our principal partners, but there are other changes there, aren't there?
There are, and I think the Poundland deal is crucial. There are so many clubs out there that wish they could do a Poundland deal, it really, really is important. It's the biggest commercial deal this club's ever done. I have to say a big thank you to Roy for this, Roy Wally, who has put his heart and soul into getting this deal over the line, working with the commercial team here and Adam and his team, but also the comms boys have worked really hard on pulling that deal off. And I think they'll be a great partner for us. I mean, just as I said last week at the launch, it just feels right to me, and there'll be other changes too. There'll be other sponsors that will be changing. Fortunately, HomeServe, who've been also a great sponsor for us, are staying with us on the community side, and that's great. And we're very pleased about that. But there'll be other changes as we try and generate a football club that's vibrant, and that stakeholder called the sponsors, the partners, is really a part of that. So you'll see a change, you'll see a churn, and that's good. But just finally, I think it's the end of the season. Apart from the Swindon game, that will be the biggest crowd of the season. I think 8,500 looks like that sort of number, which will be fantastic. And thank you for sticking with us. It's been, as I said, it's up and down, but the fans have been fantastic. There's one or two more exceptions I talked about that I just didn't support Walsall Football Club or indeed any football team, but we have to deal with it as it arises. But thank you for sticking with us through this season. It's been a bit more turbulent than I'd like, and hopefully the coming season won't be. And Michael will be the manager at the end of the season, as he is at the beginning of the season. That's what my wish is. So thank you.